All right, all right, all right. Welcome back. This is Bruce from the Epic Experiment and Garbage are Great, and we're doing another deck tech tonight. We got another deck tech. We've been going through my precons that I own, that I have usually, in most cases, I have updated with a number of things. This is one of the newer ones that I have acquired. So this is Zurgo Stormrender. So Zurgo is a commander out of Dragonstorm, so Tarkir Dragonstorm. So it is red, white, black for a 3/3 legendary creature Orc Warrior with Mobilize 1. So Mobilize was the mechanic for the Mardu, and it says whenever this creature attacks, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature token, sacrifice at the beginning of your next end step. And whenever a creature token you control leaves the battlefield, draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, each opponent loses 1 life. So the whole idea being is you want a bunch of tokens, then you want them to die, and you probably want them attacking so you can refill your grip and fill your hand with all the cards. That's the whole premise of the deck. Let's go through the deck that I as I have it. And so the new cards are up here. We'll talk about them last. We'll start with our ramp package. The ramp package is always the most unexciting part, but it is vital. So you have a Sol Ring, you have a Felwar Stone, we have a Wayfarer's Bauble, we have an Arcane Signet, we have a Talisman of Conviction, and we have a Talisman of Hierarchy. All right, those are pretty standard fare for a deck full of Marduk stuff. So that's just a pretty standard way to do it. We also have a Kaya Geist Hunter. So Kaya Geist Hunter, 1 white black for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. +1, creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. Put a +1/+1 counter up to 1 target creature token you control. -2 until end of turn. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many tokens are created instead. And -6, exile all cards from all graveyards, then create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying for each card exiled this way. So realistically, she's okay. She's not exciting. You're going to play her for 3, -2 her pretty much right off the hop, and then try and double up on some counters. Double up on some token creatures. But she's fine. Like, she's not exciting. She's more than serviceable, but I would hardly go out of my way. If I had something better to cut with for her right now, I probably would. Our interaction package over here is pretty straightforward as well too. So we have a Bitter Triumph. Bitter Triumph is pretty standard. One and a black. As additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card or pay 3 life, destroy target creature or planeswalker. We have an Abrade. So this is just a classic, 1 and a black, instant, deals 3 damage to target creature or destroy target artifact. We have a Swords to Plowshare, single white, make target creature go bye-bye. It's exiled and they gain life equal to its power. And then we have a Stroke of Midnight, which is a 2 and a white for an instant. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white human creature token. Right. All fine, like useful stuff. Deals with problematic permanents, and that's pretty okay. All right, next, let's talk about our draw package. So we got a little bit of draw. So draw is attached to Zurgo, which is what makes Zurgo interesting. Tokasia's Welcome and Deadly Dispute also help us draw. So 1 and a black, instant, additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact or a creature, draw 2 cards, and create a treasure token. Or whenever 1 or more creatures you control with mana value 3 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So these trigger when the Mobilize on Zurgo is triggered, and you can then, before they get exiled or sacrifice, you can sacrifice 1 to Deadly Dispute, and you can draw cards with them. So the synergy is there. It's undeniable. It's pretty reasonable. We also have an artifact package down here, which has another piece of draw that's going to be pretty important. We have a Skull Clamp. So Skull Clamp is a single colorless mana equipment for equip cost of 1. Equip creature has +1, -1, and whenever equip creature dies, draw 2 cards. So to complement the Tokasia's Welcome and the Deadly Dispute, you end up having this card. So after you're done attacking and you have a token still remaining, you equip this on the token, it dies, and you end up drawing 2 cards. Great way to keep your hand full. We have Infantry Shield, 2 and a red. Artifact, equipped creature has Menace and Mobilize X, where X is its power, and equips for 2. So this is pretty cool. It plays right with the Mobilize mechanic. I've never actually had a chance to play it, but it seems like a good choice. We have a Blade of Selves. Equipped creature has Myriad, so that means more tokens. And then you equip it for 4. It's a bit of a slug. It's a bit expensive to try and resolve, but pretty cool. Idol of Oblivion. 2 for an artifact. Tap to draw a card. Activate only if you created a token this turn. Pretty straightforward, given that we have things that make Mobilize and tokens all over the place. And 8 tap. Sacrifice this artifact. Create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. Sure, I guess. And then we have Lightning Greaves, which is going to give our commander haste and shroud. And equips for 0. Very good. It's a very good card. The fact that it comes in the Precon is fantastic. All right, let's talk about some of our other things we have. So we have a Will of the Mardu. 2 and a white for an instant. Choose 1. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. Create a number of 1/1 red warrior creature tokens equal to the number of creatures target player controls. And Will of the Mardu deals damage to target creature equal to the number of creatures you control. So you're going to be able to make a bunch of tokens and then use them to dome someone's creature. It's big and scary, so you're going to be pretty okay to get that, clear things out of the way. It's a pretty useful card. I've cast it a few times and I've always been pleased with the result. Then we have Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls is 2 and a white for sorcery. Create 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying and flashback for 1 and a black. This is just really good, useful card. Grand Crescendo. X and then white. Create X 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Creatures you control get indestructible until end of turn. So this is a great thing to play into a Wrath effect. Make a couple of tokens, protect your board, and then go to work. Tempt with Vengeance. X and 1. So a tempting offer. Create X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste. Each opponent may create X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste. For each opponent who does, create X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste. I have had this go kind of crazy where everyone's bought in and I've got a bunch of things. I don't know. It's a funny card. I'm not sure it's great. And then we have an Hour of Reckoning. So 4 white with Convoke, destroy all non-token creatures. Cool. Things can die. I'm pretty okay with that. All right, let's look at the creature package. Then we're going to look at the enchantments, and then we'll talk about the new cards I've added into this. All right, so this is a very creature-heavy deck. It plays a lot of cards with the that play with the Mobilize mechanic. Oh dear, I'm sorry, folks. All right, we have Iron Will Forger, 3 and a white for a 3/3 with Lieutenant. It's an Orc Artificer. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a commander, target non-legendary creature you control gains Myriad until end of turn. All right, so we're going to make tokens of it. Viscera Seer, let's sack those tokens to scry. Perfect, sounds good. Emiria Angel, 2 white 3/3 with flying and landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. I've usually seen that in green-white decks, but I mean, sure, I guess it works here too. Siege Gang Commander, 3 red for a 2/2. When it enters, it makes 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens and 2 and a red sacrifice a goblin. This creature deals 2 damage to any target. Yes, please. Grenzo Havoc Raiser. So red for a 2/2 legendary creature goblin rogue. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. Go target creature that player controls, or exile the top card of a player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that spell, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. Seems cool. If you attack with a bunch of mobilized tokens, you're probably going to get something off of it. We have Redoubled Stormstinger, so 2 and a red for a 3/3 with first strike. It's an Orc Wizard. Whenever this creature attacks, each creature token you control that entered this turn, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that token. At the beginning of the next end step, sacrifice those tokens. So this can make tokens kind of go crazy, and you make a bunch more of them. Nerev Crackling Vanguard, so 2 red, white, black, 4/4 legendary creature spirit dragon, flying and death touch. When Nerev enters, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. When Nerev attacks, exile a number of cards from the top of your library equal to the number of differently named tokens you control. During any turn you attacked with a commander, you may play those cards. Okay, seems good. Yeheni Undying Partisan, 2 and a black for a 2/2 with haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Yeheni. Sacrifice another creature, Yeheni gains indestructible until end of turn. Very, very effective. and can get very big very quickly. Gold Knight Commander, 3 and a white for a 2/2 human cleric soldier. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. This feels like an overrun effect in this list. If you have a couple of mobilized creatures, let's say you mobilize and 3/1/1 creatures come into play. So this is going to give all your creatures +3/+3, so they're going to be very big, as will the rest of your board that's attacking, and probably push it at a range of being blocked profitably by an opponent. Selfless Spirit, 1 and a white for a 2/1 with flying. It's a Spirit Cleric. Sacrifice this creature. Creatures you control get indestructible until end of turn. Ophiomancer, 2 and a black for a 2/2. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you control no snakes, create a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch. This is a miserable card to try and attack into because they always have a snake and it's always got Death Touch. Loyal Apprentice, 1 and a red for a 2/2 with haste. Is a human artificer and is lieutenant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter creature token with flying. That token gains haste until end of turn. Again, more tokens seems good. Angel Invention, 2 white for a 2/1 with flying, vigilance, lifelink, and fabricate 2. Meaning it can come into play with 2+1/+1 counters on it, or you can have 2 servo tokens that are both 1/1s. And other creatures you control get +2/+2. Sun Titan, this should be self-explanatory. So this is 4 white for a 6/6 with vigilance. It's a giant. Whenever this creature attacks or enters or attacks, you may return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is just a house right there. We have a Mirror Battlesphere. So 7 for a 4/7 artifact creature Mirror. When this creature enters, create 4 1/1 colorless Mirror artifact creature tokens. Whenever this creature attacks, you may tap X untapped Mirror you control. If you do, this creature gets +X/+O till end of turn and deals X damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. This Battle Ball is a problem anytime I've ever seen it cast. Yes, it is expensive. Yes, it often gets killed because opponents are of the opinion that it probably should die. It is just very effective if you can get it. Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. I'm surprised this was in the Precon, but anyway, 1 black for a 3/3 legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, draw a card. 4 black. Discard X cards. Exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among those cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. Sure. I mean, seems good. Hero of Bladehold. So 2 white for a human knight with battle cry. It's a 3/4. Whenever this creature attacks, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. More tokens seems good. Ogre Battle Driver. Whenever another creature enters the battle, that creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. So any token that comes into play is going to quickly pick up +2/+0 and be a problem. Now, I would probably make this Enduring Courage or substitute out Kaya for another Enduring Courage because I think this effect is really good. And this being on a creature, it makes it pretty easy to interact with. Mindblade Render, 1 and a black for a 1/3 Azra Warrior. Whenever your opponents are dealt combat damage, if any of the damage was dealt by a warrior, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Sure, I guess. Thalis Reverent Medium, 3 white for a 3/4 legendary creature human cleric. At the beginning of each end step, create X 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. So this is going to be very profitable with any mobilized creatures. So what's going to happen is that you're going to make a bunch of tokens. Thalis is going to see that and it's going to trigger at the end step and then make a bunch more of them so that even if you lose them because they get the mobilized tokens get sacrificed, these ones don't, and they get pretty good to block with. Twilight Drovers, a 2 and a white for a 1/1. Whenever a creature token leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. 2 and a white. Remove a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Create 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. I mean, this is kind of cute. I've seen it many times over the years. I've always been underwhelmed by this card. Maybe it's going to come a time when it's very good, but right now it's just fine. Inox Strike Leader. It's a 1 and a white for a 2/2 creature dog warrior. Whenever you attack with this creature and or your commander, for each opponent, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. Sacrifice this creature. Creature tokens you control gain indestructible end of turn. Sure. Legion Warboss, 2 and a black, 2 and a red for a 2/2 with Mentor. It's a goblin soldier. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. That token gains haste until end of turn and attacks this combat if able. Sure, I guess. Now, since you're going to have many things dying, Morbid Opportunist is really good. 2 and a black for a 1/3. Whenever one or more creatures die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Sure. Adeline Resplendent Cathar, 1 white for a star 4 with Vigilance. Adeline's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever you attack, for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. Alright, and then Solemn Simulacrum is exactly what Sad Robot does. When it enters, it's 4 mana for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you will find a basic, put it in play tapped. When it dies, you draw a card. And we have a Bone Devourer, 3 and a black for a 2/2 dragon with flash. As flying, this creature enters with the number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the number of creatures that died this turn. So when you flash this in after a bunch of those Mobilize tokens die, it's going to come in pretty big. When this creature dies, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on it. Cool. So we're making a bunch of tokens. That's what Zurgo wants us to do. I'm sorry there, folks. We've got some really interesting artifact equipment. Nope, that's not the same word. Enchantments. So the first one is Bastion of Remembrance of 2 and a black for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier token. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So you're often going to be able to bleed people out pretty good with mobilized counters that go away. Legion Loyalty. So 6 white with enchantment. Creatures you control have myriad. So whenever they attack, you make a copy of that creature for each opponent that you happen to have. This is like such a win more card, but it's super cool, and I would love to be able to resolve it. Divine Visitation. So 3 white. If 1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. So, as a great example, if you have Legion Loyalty and Divine Visitation come into play, when you attack, your creatures have myriad, makes a copy of each of them, and then Divine Visitation says, no, actually, instead of making a copy of that creature, you get to make an angel token. All right? So it's going to result in you overwhelming your opponents pretty rapidly. And then within range, so 3 and a black for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, create 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens, and then whenever you attack, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creatures attacking them. So, pretty good way to bleed out your opponent once again. All right, so let's talk about the new cards that I've put in this list. Now, so the first one I have here, so this Castle Ardenvale comes in the list, so this is like just like it. But we also have a Minas Tirith, so it's very similar. But a little bit of card draw, so when you're having lots of tokens, you're going to be able to trigger it pretty readily. So, but it comes into play tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Tapped out a white, 1 and a white, tap, draw a card, activate only if you attack with 2 or more creatures this turn. That shouldn't be hard to trigger. Dalcoven Encampment. This is a land. It says enters tapped unless you control a swamp or a mountain. Tapped out a white, 2 and a white, tap. Whenever you attack this turn, create 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. So it's like you have Mobilize 2 on a land. So you attack with some sort of creature, and then the encampment makes 2 more. All right. We'll leave that one for a second. We'll leave that one for a second. So Avenger of the Fallen. So 2 and a black for a 2/4 with Death Touch. It's a human warrior. Mobilize X, where X is the number of creatures in your graveyard. So with a bunch of creatures in your graveyard, this is going to allow you to mobilize a lot. And it's pretty potent. War Leader's Call. 1 red white for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, War Leader's Call deals 1 damage to each opponent. So with the Mobilize triggers and all the different ways to make counter or tokens, this is going to ping your opponents down a lot. So they're going to take damage on the way in, and then they take damage on the way out as they all die, and the Bastion of Remembrance or other such things trigger. Seems good. The Alcoven Pack Beast. So 2 and a white for a 0/4 with Vigilance and Mobilize 3. So this may not look like a good attacker, but a 0/4 making a bunch of tokens seems pretty good. All Out Assault. 2 red, white, black for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +X/+X, and +1/+1, and have Death Touch. When this enchantment enters, if it's your main phase, there is an additional combat phase after this, followed by an additional main phase. When you next attack this turn, untap each creature you control. That seems pretty gruesome if you can get it. It's a pretty expensive spell, but it'd be pretty cool. Crackling Doom is from the original Khans of Tarkir. So 1 red, white, black for an instant. Crackling Doom deals 2 damage to each opponent. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures he or she controls. You're probably bagging their best card or best creature with that. All right. We have Great Arishan City. This land enters tapped unless you control forest or a plains. Tapped at a black. 1 and a black. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a 1/1 white spirit creature token. Seems good to me. Then we have 2 other creatures. So we have Zurgo Thunder's Decree. So this is white, red, black for a 2/4 legendary creature Orc Warrior with Mobilize 2. During your end step, warrior tokens you have this token can't be sacrificed. So at your end step, where you would sacrifice those Mobilize tokens, they don't get sacrificed, and you get to keep them. That's kind of gross. And then we have Ishin, 2 Heavens is 1, so red, white, black for a 3/4 legendary creature Human Samurai. If a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So that Mobilize means it's going to get an extra Mobilizer trigger, and it's going to have, if it's Mobilize 2, it'll make 4 tokens instead. So triggered once and triggers twice. Now, the other piece that I like here is these 2 cards. So when you go put things in combat, like your Zurgo, because you want to get the Mobilize trigger, it's very tempting for your opponents to block your Mobilize creatures. So Maze of Ith and Reconnaissance are pretty handy. So we have Maze of Ith, so it's a land. Untap target attacking creature. Prevent all combat damage that we dealt to it and by that creature this turn. So you're going to be able to remove Zurgo from combat or any of your other creatures that with Mobilize to be able to keep it so it doesn't end up causing you to have to replay your commander a million times. Reconnaissance is another one that's interesting. A single white for enchantment. 0, remove target attacking creature you control from combat and untap it. So you can use it to untap any of your creatures with Mobilize, like all of them. Leave the tokens to do whatever tokens do and live or die or whatever. Hopefully profit with Zurgo and then be able to keep all your creatures with Mobilize to be able to do it again the next turn. It's pretty handy. It's a pretty useful spell in the list. All right, that is the list. So you can see about, I don't know, I think I had changed a dozen cards, which is nothing crazy, but it does definitely change the spin of the deck to have effects like Maze of Ith and Reconnaissance in the list, and then the other Zurgo that doesn't make you have to sacrifice your stuff. Anyway, it's still very much a bracket 2 or a Precon level list, even though it's got some fun synergies. It's very clearly not designed to take on, high-end powerful decks. I have it for when I play with my friends who like to play Precons, and that's, a good place to have it. It's a fun list to play. I recommend people, if you're looking for something fun and proactive to do, you can play it, and it does some good work. I've been very pleased with it whenever I've had the chance to jam it. All right, that's all for me tonight. Now, I'm really sorry about my camera falling down, so you got the close-up look at my yellow screen or yellow playmat. But if you like what you saw, please check out the complete deck list down below in the description. Like and follow for more. And, of course, you can follow me on social media. The link is going to be in the description, as is the podcast, so you can go and follow us there. We'd love to have more people join us. I've been advertising now for a couple of weeks that we're getting awfully close to having 100 followers here on YouTube, and at that point, I have a deck that I will happily give away to good people who have been supporting me here on the channel and helping us expand our reach a little bit. All right, so that's all for me tonight. Thanks very much. Hope you have a good one, and I'll talk to you all soon.